Months ago, the Nigerian Police Benue State Command raided 2 internet fraudster hideouts alongside an internet fraud academy in Makurdi. Youths of different ages were paraded in connection. What is responsible for the rise in illegal dealings on the cyberspace? How can it back in just a moment? Don't go away.
Keep abreast on security matters around you. Keep the day with us on Benue Television every Thursday, 12 to 1 p.m. as we mirror tough security issues in all nooks and crannies of the state. The Mirror, a program that has raised all issues pertaining to security of lives and properties in Benue and beyond. Security experts will be engaging in insightful discussion on threats to lives and properties. Without the people saying, security tips and lots more. The Mirror, engaging, in-depth, straight talks, showing on Benue Television every Thursday. Join us.
Welcome back from that break. Internet fraud is our focus today. Why are we having it so much, and how can it be reduced? All this we'll get to find out in just a moment. But first, let's go on the street of Makurdi and find out how the people feel about this ugly trend. Come with me.
I've not been defrauded before, but I have some of the relations that have been defrauded before. I do feel very sad because it's a very big evil that has to be eliminated in this society. Because such noxious persons sometimes don't even contemplate that they are going to inflict that.
Not directly per se. They complain that money has been withdrawn from the accounts. They don't know how come. Even yesterday, my neighbor was telling me about somebody removing 900 and something thousand from her account. It's so sad. Look at our country. People are suffering. Things are expensive. Then when you look for money, you get a little, and it's being withdrawn from your account.
I can say it's jobless. They're bringing all those nonsense and whatever to this country that we are today.
It was very devastating. My mind was broken that day. I had it, I think, sometime 2022. Yes. I know it was, I did a transaction with the POS. When I left that evening, next morning I saw that they would bring part of balance of my money in accounts. That day I was very, very annoyed. I went back to that place. I couldn't even find a way to bring my money back.
Welcome back from the streets, where you listen to a whole lot of persons on how they feel on the current trend, internet fraud. Joining me on the conversation on this very important topic is the Police Public Relations Officer, Benue State Police Command, in the person of Superintendent of Police, Sewese Anene. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you.
It's been a while we have you on The Mirror.
Yes, it's been a while.
It's a privilege having you on set today.
Thank you.
Very quickly, Ma, I want to find out from you. Can you give us a little brief on this issue of internet fraud? For some months now, it has become a current, happening that we'll be hearing on the media.
Thank you for this opportunity to talk with the Benue people. Internet fraud is not new to Benue, neither is it new to the country at large, but it became worrisome with the growing trend of our youths being involved in internet fraud. We had cases reported to the command about so many of them, about young people, undergraduates, those out of school, going into internet fraud. We also learned about an internet fraud academy in not one, more than one in Benue State. So the Commissioner of Police, Benue State Police Command, CP Hassan Steve Yabanet, decided to mobilize and train some police officers to handle that aspect of policing in Benue State. And that's why we've been seeing results in recent time.
Okay, before you proceed further, I would like to find out, has this been in existence before this year? Because for the past few years, we've not been hearing, just recently, less than a month, cases of internet fraud like that. Can you give us a brief, whether in the past years you were experiencing what you are experiencing now?
Internet fraud has been there. Like I said, it's not new to the command. But it depends on what people understand by internet fraud. I give you an example of what internet fraud is. young people tend to cook up pictures, maybe with the aid of artificial intelligence AI, cook up pictures to form that they are either female or male, irrespective of their gender, and connect some persons outside the country and pretend to be female friends or male friends, tell them a lot of lies, and they begin to send in monies. Sometimes they pretend to be business partners. They will pretend to have some products to export, or one or two things that they tell them as lies, and then they begin to send in money to them. That's one aspect of it. They can also hack into people's accounts, if they have access to your ATM card or your personal details on your bank account, they can take monies from your account. They do a lot with their computers, their phones, whatever they have available. So this has been happening over the years. But you know, technology is growing.
Yeah.
And so internet fraud is also growing with new technology, with the upcoming AI and all of that. It aids them to practice this kind of crime very easy and get away with it. That's why the command has decided to focus on internet crime, internet fraud in particular.
Okay. For some months now, just like you said, it has been on the increase. How can members of the public identify this kind of people, this group of people, being someone who has been in the forefront, raiding areas where they have been, having their operations in Benue State? How can people identify this group of people?
There's something about crime. Okay. When you're involved in crime, you begin to behave in a way that even as the criminal might not even understand that he's behaving in a way that he could be identified as a criminal. One of the ways in which you could identify internet fraud stars is their lifestyle. Okay. They get their money so easy, and so they tend to live beyond what is expected of them. You see a student, 200 level, 300 level, driving a flashy car. He's not working. He did not inherit those things. But over the night, he just makes money and begin to buy a lot of things, go out there, buy houses, rent big houses, rent hotels, pick up women. And this kind of lifestyle is an indication that someone is getting money that is not normal. Because when you actually labor for money, there's a way you go about spending it actually. So if you see a young person doing those things, it's a sign. Sometimes it's difficult to identify them just by seeing them. Okay. Because if you say because someone is wearing dreadlocks,
driving a flashy car,
or is putting on a jean, but just by this, you might be picking up the wrong people. But you need to dig more into what they do. Even though sometimes those things could be an indication, but it's not solely a reason to pick up a suspect. Okay. If you see a suspect behaving strange, normally as police officers, we go behind to ask questions, find out what is this person earning, why is he living this life, and he's earning this amount and all of that before we go up to pick up suspects. So if you go about picking people just because they have dreadlocks, they have jean trousers, they have rugged jean and all of that, it's not a reason for picking up internet fraudsters.
Okay. We're having a lot of this kind of people around us. What is the command doing to turn this tide, to bring this increase, at least reducing it to a certain extent? What is your command doing to tackle this problem?
If you have been following events with the command, in the last 2 months, we have paraded not less than 30 suspects of internet fraud. In two cases, these people were arrested from Internet Fraud Academy. There's a place they rented, furnished it with laptops, and they usually bring in people from outside the state to train young men in the state who are willing to learn what it takes to practice internet fraud. So what we discovered is that it's becoming a network. They are having people from other states come in to train people in Benue who are willing to do this, and then they have a reward for it. When they finish the training and their trainees go out to practice and make monies, they have a percentage for the institute, for the academy that has been organized. So it was raided, and some suspects arrested. Investigation is ongoing, though these particular suspects have been charged to court. There are other suspects that we're still following up on. But I want to tell you that a lot of young people do these things. Some don't even see it as a crime. We have arrested suspects who feel nothing is wrong with what I'm doing. If I decide to pretend that I'm a woman for someone who is looking for a woman and get money from outside the country, it's not an offense. That's a very big offense against the state, because it gives us a name. When you go out there today as a Nigerian and you are talking, people are looking at you as a fraudster. People don't trust you. People don't easily trust you because they have seen one or two persons practice this same thing. So we cannot keep quiet and watch this happen.
Okay, is there one way thing that I must pretend to be a woman? Are there other things they do to get to siphon money from people apart from pretending to be,
Yes, like I said earlier, some of them pretend to be business, international businessmen or women, pretend to have some products to sell, to supply. And, people who are very gullible, they easily fall for them. They easily believe them and begin to send them money. Sometimes when these reports are made, I wonder how you just trust people that you meet on the internet. But maybe it's not happening around them, so they don't know that this is happening. I've received international calls that there are people in the States who had promised to send goods outside, and we get to trace and know that those people don't even exist. Those accounts are pseudo accounts. There's nothing true about them, and we begin to wonder why people easily believe them. But I think that maybe it's not happening around them, so they feel it's normal for someone to be into business and advertise himself. I have even seen within the country, within Nigeria, where people advertise products on Facebook precisely. I've handled 4 cases where some people advertise that in Benue, they pretend to be selling rice. They actually have the rice displayed with phone numbers, but they don't intend to supply. So once money is paid into their account, they shut down that page and they are no longer reachable. So a lot is happening on the internet, even though internet is supposed to be a very good space for us to do business, for us to interact, but there are people who have decided that it will be their point of committing crime.
Okay, before we go on the break, there's a question that really comes to mind while you were talking about the raid done by the officers of your command recently. Some hideout where internet fraudsters were, resident. Do you just make arrests in, arresting those people involved or the owners of the property? How did you go about it?
Now, these are issues of professionalism of the police officers involved.
Okay.
If a police officer goes for raid and he has reasonable information that a landlord or a hotel owner or whoever owns where such crime is being practiced is in one way or the other involved in that crime, they will pick up that person. It might be by virtue of negligence. By negligence, I mean you brought in young people as tenants. You didn't know what they do, but you joyfully received ₦1 million as rent from them. And you didn't ask them what they do
for a living.
All you want is money. You forgot that you have a responsibility to protect your state, even as a landlord. When we come, we will ask you questions. And sometimes these landlords live with these men, these young people in the same house.
The same house.
So they cannot pretend that they don't know what is happening. You wake up with young men who stay in the house from morning till night on their systems. They are not doing anything, but they are bringing millions of naira to you as tenants. Sometimes they drive out at night, come back, and in the morning they are sleeping or they are on their systems, and it has not called for questioning. It means you have conspired to do that. Landlords should be able to say, what is this person doing? Now, going to court to prove this is a different ballgame.
Yeah.
Whether you are liable or not is a different ballgame. But you will have questions to answer.
So that was why I tried to find out that the arrest your command made, were the owners of those property arrested alongside?
In few cases, they were arrested, but along the line screened.
Okay.
When we established that they were not directly involved or they were not aware of what was happening. For instance, there's this case of someone who had given his house to an agent to run for him. The agent was managing the house. So he was not available. He was only unfortunate to have been there as at the time of arrest. So when they arrested the fraudsters with him, they took him together, but it was discovered that he came in on that day and came in to supervise or to inspect his property. That was when he was picked, and it was a clear case. He was released. Yes, but for a landlord that is aware, we have not had that particular case of arresting a landlord in recent times, but we have had them in the past.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, before we continue on this conversation, I would like to go on a short break. We'll be back in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Keep abreast on security matters around you. Keep it in with us on Benue Television every Thursday, 12 to 1 p.m. as we mirror tough security issues in all nooks and crannies of the state. The Mirror, a program that is raised all issues pertaining to security of lives and properties in Benue and beyond. Security experts will be engaging in insightful discussion on threats to lives and properties. What are the people saying? Security tips and lots more. The Mirror, engaging, in-depth, straight talks, showing on Benue Television every Thursday. Join us.
Welcome back from that break, and it is still The Mirror on Benue Television. Our conversation today has been internet fraud, a rising issue that is almost becoming a menace in our society. And on this conversation, I've been talking with the Police Public Relations Officer, Benue State Police Command, the person of Superintendent of Police, Sewese Anene. Ma, before we went on the break, you were trying to tell us the raid you made recently. I would like to find out very quickly from you, how were you able to identify those residents as an internet academy?
The truth is that a police command usually has information about the environment. It costs us some money, but we usually pay for information. And then we have very good citizens who feel that crime should not be a part of the society, who can on their own volunteer to tell us that this is happening here and we don't like it. We encourage people to do this. Sometimes we may not have money to pay for information, but when you do this, it's a social responsibility that you have done to the state, and it's rewarding. You don't know who will become a victim of this crime in a very short time. So we appreciate those people who usually come up to tell us that something is happening here and we don't understand why it's happening. Naturally, there are people who don't like crime. So once they see it, they call us. We have our numbers available to members of the public to call us when such things happen.
I was about coming to that question. How available are those toll-free lines? Because if I ask a normal person on the street, they may say they are not aware.
Our lines are not toll-free though.
Okay.
We have phone numbers I've always put up in every appearance that members of the public are able to contact us. It costs something. It's like paying for your normal calls. You call us We have an MTN line, we have a Glo line, we have an Airtel line. So you call us and give us information. Some are very familiar with the office of the PRO, some the office of the CP or the nearest division. So they can walk in and give information about a particular thing and go away. That's why I appreciate this particular group of people who feel that giving us information is their way of fighting crime. They are very useful to us as a command, and they have helped us on several occasions. We go out based on information. Yeah.
Okay, ma. There are allegations that some officers from your command indiscriminately, raided some residents in the guise of arresting internet fraudsters. How true is this insinuation?
A lot of stories come up when crime fighting begins. You hear those who will say they are innocent people who have been arrested. You hear, but sometimes the truth is that it's not very easy to screen criminals at the spot. So if I find you in that internet academy, I may not have time within the next 5-10 minutes to sit down in an operation and begin to screen who is a criminal and who is not a criminal. So what police will do normally is to pick everybody within that environment and then go and screen at the station. So if you are not a criminal but you find yourself in an environment where crime is being practiced, you might not blame the police so much for picking you up. Where I fault the police is if after screening and they refuse to release you go, that's when you can come up with a case.
And the screening sometimes could be hectic.
Sometimes it's hectic, but screening for internet crime is not that difficult for police officers who have decided to learn about the internet fraud. It makes it easier for them. If you are in that gang or in that group, one way or the other, there must be something around you that indicates your involvement. Even from your phone, even from your laptops, even from your conversation. This group of persons will usually identify themselves. On their own, they will tell you that this one is not part of us. It seems they too don't want stress. So they're always willing to cooperate with the police.
Yes,
once you pick them, they will tell you the truth. Okay. Because it's a crime that is very difficult to hide. If you say you didn't do this, how do you have this on your phone? How come you have this on your system? You are not a business person and you are advertising products on a system. You were arrested with a system. You claim to be doing a business. Where is the business? Why is it happening? So if you know that you take the police out and you cannot establish this, there's no need to tell them lies. You just tell them the truth, that you are a fraudster. So most times they don't give us headache. They just tell us the truth. This is what we do. Some of them don't even believe it's a crime.
So the outcry is false by your explanation, because some persons came out to say that their relations were wrongly arrested in the guise of internet fraud.
Now, when people come up to complain about police actions, my advice to them is, if you have a genuine reason or excuse, write to the command. Let us know if maybe one of our officers have become very zealous to act beyond what he should have done. But normally, these people don't come up. Yes, there might be officers that can err. I'm not saying that it's not possible for an officer to err. It's possible for them to do something that is wrong. But if you are saying that you have been accused wrongly, please come up. That's why we're here, to discipline our officers that are going out to the field. But if you say this and you have not come up to lay any complaint, and you are just speaking maybe on social media or saying it in the public generally, it doesn't change anything. Some people actually say that to regain their image when they are released from the court, or maybe they are charged to court and they have been released. They will come to members of the public and tell them that they were innocent after all, just to regain their image. If there's a problem, you have a genuine case, please come up. We won't hesitate to come up and even apologize for that action and then discipline police officers involved. But we have not seen genuine cases. We have not seen people come up to report.
Okay, from your explanation, can you give us a vivid estimate of how many, group of these persons or numbers you have arrested, and how many so far has been charged to court?
I don't have the exact statistics, but like I told you, in the last 2 months, we have charged to court more than 30 persons in connection with internet fraud. More than 30, I'm sure of that, but I don't have the exact statistics to show this.
Do you see this arrest yielding positive results? Because the more police is raiding, their hideouts, the more we keep hearing about new ones. Do you see positive results?
It's yielding positive results, but arrest and prosecution is not the only way in which such crimes can be fought. Now, when you go out and discuss with people, you hear young men say, because I'm not a fraudster, I cannot have a girlfriend, I cannot rent a house. People are feeling that if you are a fraudster and you have the money, you should be the one eating in the best of restaurants. You should be the one lodging in the best of hotels. And this is inciting young people to think that it is right.
It is a way to go.
Yes. So they are grooming younger people to practice internet fraud by, encouraging them in the society. Some parents don't even ask their children where they are getting money from, because we have gone to arrest some fraudsters in their family houses, and the parents are not aware. If you claim not to be aware, where do you think your child gets money to buy a car? Your child is housing more than 10 schoolmates, and you're not asking questions. You think it's okay for your child to come in with friends, all of them with dreadlocks. They sleep in the same house, wake up maybe 2 a.m. in the afternoon.
So the dreadlock is actually an identity of this group.
No, it's not, but there are things that become abnormal. You didn't grow your child to do certain things, and you begin to see them, ask questions. Don't assume that it's fashion is normal. Some children might go into doing dreadlocks for fashion. Some are musicians, some are footballers. This is normal, it's okay. We don't frown against that. But for no reason, a group of young persons decide that this is how they want to do. And it's very expensive to maintain that hair. It's expensive to maintain the lifestyle that they are living. All this put together should bring questions to the minds of these parents. So when a parent claims that is not aware of a child who has this number of friends staying in the same house with the parents, sometimes as a person I don't believe them. I feel they know. They don't have a strong voice over their children, so they decide to keep quiet, and this is affecting the entire society, and the command cannot keep quiet.
Wow. In Nigerian society, the 1999 Constitution, there are certain aspects that are, well pronounced. When police make arrests, there's a stipulated number of hours that such a person should be bailed. And after a while, the same person, group of persons are released back to the society. They become like free birds again, going back to do same thing they were doing before they were arrested. How are you keeping a tab on this group of persons?
And that's the part of the challenges of the police. We have the duty, in the judicial system, we have the duty of arresting and arraigning suspects. But we don't have the duty of making laws. We don't have the duty of judgment, carrying out judgments. So we do the arrest, the prosecution process, we're a part of it. But whether a case is bailable or not is not made by the police. So we try to put our eyes on them when they are on bail, because we do not expect them to be in jail forever. We expect them to be reformed. We expect them to be better. That's why it's called a correctional center. So, but the society does not help matters for the police sometimes. It's not easy for us. We have these persons going out, like you said, Some people coming up to say they were arrested unjustly. They are not criminals. But they have cases in court going on. They go about still doing terrible things, and members of the society tend to be against the police, looking at the police as the enemy. You picked innocent people, but these people still go back to still fuel the same crime that we are trying to fight. So what we do, we put our eyes on them, but it cannot be enough. We can't be enough. We don't have enough manpower to put our eyes on all the suspects that we have charged to court. We don't have capacity to do all of that, but we'll try our best to do what we can.
Wow, it's good to hear that you try your best to see how the menace of internet fraud will be brought to the barest minimum.
Now, when it comes to checking what these young people do in the society, I like to say that
I was actually coming to that.
yes, it's not it's a primary duty of the police, but it is not all about the police. We have stakeholders like traditional rulers, youth leaders, religious leaders, parents, heads of institutions. They have a lot to do to check this. Most times people know when someone is involved in this crime, but some feel it's not my business, it's not my money. Who sent people to make them female friends? There are a lot of excuses why people should not come up to report such cases, or frown against it, or advocate for, a better system. People have reasons to do that, but that's just because they have not become victims. Anybody can be a victim. So if we look at it that anybody can be a victim, we will collectively fight this crime. So it will not be an issue of the police charging to court, going back to follow up to see whether the person is repentant or the person is still doing it. It will not be left to the police. We'll have other agencies helping the police to do that. So it's not something that should be left to the police.
Wow, all of us have a role to play. Ma, before I let you go, I still want to find out. There were so many group of, and the age grades, different age grades were amongst those that were arrested. And after that, you released them to go. I still want to find out, how long does this kind of, cases take in the court? As in, between the police and the court, how long does this kind of case take?
Now, most times we don't release suspects to go as police. What we do is arraign them in court. There are so many reasons why.
But they are entitled to bail.
Yes. They are entitled to bail, but it depends on the offenses they have been charged with. Sometimes when you go to arrest fraudsters, you might discover that they are cultists. You might discover that they deal in arms, so they do beyond fraud. Their charges will be different, and that will not be bailable. Then you might arrest a fraudster, and you discover that he has nothing else apart from that particular offense that you arrested. If the law permits that offense is bailable, he will certainly be bailed in court, and there's nothing we can do about it. We can only plead for the judge to keep them. If the judge refuses, there's nothing we can do about it. So the case goes on until there's conviction. But there are a lot of reasons why cases are delayed in court. I think lawyers or judges will tell you better why cases are delayed in court.
Wow. On a final note, I want to find out from you. You were talking about the members of the public giving the police the needed information to be able to tackle this issue on the ground. What assurance are you giving to these people that their identity would be safeguarded? Because some persons may have good information to give to police, but sometimes they are scared.
We have carried out so many operations based on information, and it has not gone out. Nobody knows. If I don't tell you here that it's based on information that we went out for operations, you won't know. So for me as a police officer, I've taken an oath to do my job, protect my informants, and I do that. So what I advise most informants to do is, don't just see any police officer on the street and walk up to them and give them information. Know the police officer that you are giving information. You know, people are not the same. We are all trained, but there are officers that by your assessment, you will know that this person can keep my information. Like for me, my office calls for secrecy. So even if you bring a bullet and put on my head, I won't give you information about who is talking to me. Sometimes people talk to me in anonymity. I don't know them. They just send me messages, but I act on it. So there are channels in which you can reach the police and you might not even be known. And there are channels in which you will reach the police, you will be known, but that police officer is obliged not to give out your identity to
It's
anybody.
not just any police you see on the street that you can,
Give it
what
sensitive information to.
okay.
Any information that you know that is very sensitive, that can risk your life. If you are close to a division, you can tell the divisional police officer. Somebody who has grown to the level of a divisional police officer, if he knows what he's looking for, he should know that certain things are very sensitive and must be treated confidential. Yes. So I always advise people, meet senior police officers and interact with them at the division. Don't just see anybody on the road and stop and begin to divulge information that is very sensitive. So we as senior officers, definitely your information will be protected.
Wow, somebody may be listening to us. Anytime you sense internet fraudsters around you, just check the office of the PPRO.
Yes,
I guess that
I'm
is what you are
available.
indirectly
I'm
saying.
available. You can send to me, you can send to divisional police officers. I know there are younger police officers that can do well with information management. Yes, they have informants and they protect. But what I'm saying is, know who you are giving your information to. Don't just see anybody and give information to anybody.
Wow, on a final note, where are we seeing Benue in the next 3 months in respect to issues of internet fraud? Do you see the menace being tackled in a short time? The final word.
This is a very difficult question, but I would like to answer it this way. When we arrest and parade fraudsters, what we expect members of the public to do is to learn that this thing exists. We're telling you, we're bringing it to the public so that everybody will know that this is possible. Knowing it is a step forward. So if we agree,
Being aware.
yes, if we agree as Benue indigenes or as people of Benue State, that now we know that there are fraudsters, and we will be more careful who will deal with, who will trust, then in 3 months' time we can be sure that we're done with fraud, internet fraud. But if we refuse to acknowledge that this thing is real, and we need to be very careful with the people we deal with, who we trust, who will give out certain roles to carry out for us, then we'll be deceiving ourselves.
I think this advice also extends to property owners.
Yes. Yes, they have a responsibility to protect us. You cannot bring in anybody to a commodity without knowing who that person is. If that person,
No matter the amount of money they are willing to.
yes, it's not all about
offer.
money. Life is not all about money. There are times police have gone for operations and fraudsters have guns to begin to shoot back at police. You don't expect us to fold our hands and watch you. When you shoot,
You must shoot
we
back.
will shoot back.
There must be an exchange.
And
of
what if
fire.
you are there, you the landlord who collected money, and you don't have arms, and the bullet doesn't know that you are landlord, and it gets at you? It will be too bad. So let us protect our interests, protect the people, protect yourself from fraudsters.
Wow, thank you so much. I really want to appreciate your time on the program today. We look forward to having you again. Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Up next is security tips. And that brings us to the end of our show today. See you same time, same station next week. And always remember to always say something when you see something. Bye.
Welcome to the exciting world of Benue Television, where we give you an